Hey, Tom Eli here, Fort Myers Beach, Florida. We're having a great time. And I'm talking to my great friend, Bruce Schumann. And boy, he's had lots of experience leading people to Jesus. And Bruce, we're talking about how do we know who to talk to?
Yeah.
How do we, you know, we're not weird, we're not nutty, we just want to love people. How do you know who to talk to, when not to talk to? You just asked me, we were on the beach and this one guy responded and said, should we stop to him? Stop and talk to him, and I said, I don't think so, I think he's drunk. So, but if he's sober, we could. But how do you figure that out, Bruce?
Tom, when I first started trying to share my faith, I was paired up with a wonderful businessman from Sioux Falls, Art Sankey. We were out at Mount Rushmore in South Dakota, and we're sharing, and I mean, he was sharing, and I was watching, and I finally went up to him, and he was just talking to lots of people. And I went up to him, and I said, Art, how do you know who you're supposed to talk to? And he says, I just figure if somebody comes within 10 feet of me, I'm going to talk to them. And that just scared me to death.
Okay.
I spent a week staying 10 feet away from people.
Okay.
But now, kind of with a growing heart to share Christ with others, I feel like it's just kind of God's nudge. I mean, he said God is in this. I mean, he's the initiator on this.
Yeah.
We're just following him.
Yeah.
It's not my great ideas.
Yeah.
It's not my great plan. It's just being led by the Spirit,
Yeah.
listening to the voice of the Holy Spirit. And I just say it's kind of God giving me a nudge saying, we'll see. Like this last week, I was with that barber. Go for a 3:30 appointment in the afternoon, several chairs in the barbershop, but he's the only barber there,
Yeah.
and I'm the only customer. And
Yeah.
I'm thinking, well, this is a pretty good setup. And
Yeah.
so I had a wonderful visit with Josh, and we had a wonderful time sharing together.
Pretty cool.
Yeah,
Pretty
just
cool.
God's nudge, and it's as unique as the day and each personality. And the big thing is, God knows who he wants to draw you to, and he knows all about the other person if we're just willing. And when he gives a nudge, instead of saying, oh, I don't want to do this, just kind of taking a step of boldness, step of faith, and start it out with whatever your opening line is.
Yep, sounds great, sounds great. Yeah.
People are so much more open to listen than we are willing to share.
Isn't that true?
We're the ones that are kind of locked up. They're not.
Yeah.
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 So God help us.
Yeah, good. I think for me, when I'm out, I think it helps me a lot to posture myself right away in the morning. I pray this prayer, good morning, Lord, I'm available today. I'm looking for an opportunity. And I remember when I bought a white Toyota Camry car, and the next day I saw them all over the city, and I thought, did we buy the same day or what? Of course not. They've always been there. You find what you're looking for.
Yeah.
And if you're looking for opportunities, God is saying, I've got some great fruitfulness for you, Tom.
Yeah.
If you'll take this and run with it, if I can depend on you, talk to that guy, talk to that gal. And more often than not, you'll find it was a divine appointment.
Yeah.
So as I just am walking through life, and I'm not thinking about sharing my faith, I'm just doing my business, and suddenly I look at someone and the thought comes, share your faith. Usually I find that's the Holy Spirit that put that thought. The devil sure didn't put it
Probably
in.
not the enemy giving you that idea.
No, and so if I respond to that, usually, more often than not, I'm so glad I did. So these are the things we learn as we practice. You can't just textbook it out, but you've got to learn it. And this beach and any place like this with lots of people, these are great opportunities to share your faith. Hey, you can do this. God bless you. Okay, let's do some question and answer here, because these are really important questions. Bruce, what would you say to people that say, you know what, you guys are professionals, you've been saved a long time, you know, you don't have the fear, but someone says, I'm really scared to do this. What would you say, Bruce?
I'd say welcome to the club. I'm apprehensive every time. I'm not just like on some kind of a joyride saying, well, down the street, every third person I talk with, when I'm living my life, wanting to be used by God, and when he gives me a quickening or he gives me a nudge, I have a choice to make. Am I going to step out of my comfort zone and share and start my 1-minute witness, or am I going to yield to my fear? So I kind of battle that each time. How do you deal with fear?
I think that's true. My fear is never completely gone, but this is what the Lord showed me. He said, Tom, you don't have a fear problem, you have a compassion problem. When my fears were high, my compassions were low. But as my compassion rose, my fears reduced. Doesn't mean they got out of whack altogether or disappeared, but love is 10 times stronger than fear. What you would do for your children, you wouldn't do for your neighbor's kids, but you would rescue your kids. You would risk your life for your neighbor, for your kids. And so, Lord, put your love in my heart. Help me to see people, not be intimidated by the exterior, but just to see these are somebody who really needs Jesus. Whether he's wearing a business suit, whether it's a muscle man, no matter who it is, he needs Jesus. He has a hole in his heart.
Their need to hear, Tom, should be greater than our fear to share.
Yeah, that's a great way to say it. Yeah, so we're all learning together, and we can do this because Jesus said, if you will do it, I'll do it with you.
I'm so glad when I do. I'm so glad when I yield.
Every time I do it, I come away and go, oh, that was so cool.
Yeah.
And God is waiting to surprise you. So Christians, you can share your faith. Go to oneminutewitness.org, get trained. Your youth group, your children's ministry, your adult, your women's ministry, whatever it is, you can do this.
Angels rejoice when you do.
Absolutely. God bless.